Welcome to Collective Soulversations. I'm Jody Jones, and I'm thrilled to have you join me on this amazing journey exploring spirituality, healing, and personal growth. With over 15 years of experience as a psychic medium and energy healer, I've made it my mission to help people connect with their true selves, and I can't wait to share this journey with you. In every episode, I chat with incredible guests who bring their own unique stories and insights to the table. We dive into different tools and practices that can help support you on your path of self-discovery. So whether you're just starting out or you've been in this journey for a while, Collective Soulversations is all about creating a friendly and welcoming space for us to explore the mysteries of the soul together. So grab your favorite cup of tea, get comfy, and let's dive into this enlightening adventure together. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Collective Soulversations. I am your host, Jody Jones, and I have a wonderful, magical, inspirational guest with us here today, and her name is Eva Müller. I'm going to go in and I'm going to let you know a little bit about Eva, and then we'll bring her in so that you guys can get to meet her yourselves because she is very interesting, and I can't wait until we find out all of her magic that she's bringing. So, just to let you know, Eva Müller is a highly realized spiritual teacher who works in the field of energy healing. Going through her own journey of awakening consciousness and healing her human system in a short amount of time, she was now helping people from all over the world who are going through the same process. So, from a young age, Eva was looking for something that made her feel fulfilled and gave her a purpose in life. And when she thought she had found it, for example, in her law degree, sports, a good job, traveling, etc., she discovered it wasn't what she was looking for. There had to be something more. So even though she had a good life, there was always a feeling that something was missing, a sense of emptiness and lack, which caused her to experience a lot of emotional suffering, sadness, and hopelessness. About 5 years ago, Eva became interested in meditation and had a very significant experience right away that made her curious. Through listening to a guided meditation, she fell into such a deep state where nothing existed anymore. No Eva, no thoughts, no emotions, no worldly problems, just a deep sense of peace and quiet, clarity, and absolute freedom. From that moment on, she wanted to experience more of that. I don't blame her. Eva started meditating regularly with different spiritual teachers online who were transmitting spiritual energies and higher states of consciousness. Early on, she was exposed to highly transformative energy transmissions. Soon after, Eva began to feel energies, see lights, and have visions. She learned that there are different levels of consciousness a human being can go through and experience. Over about 3 years of dedicated spiritual practice, she progressed through various levels of consciousness, such as self realization, God consciousness, unity consciousness, Brahman consciousness, para Brahman, and pure divinity. During the phase of unity consciousness, Eva realizes that trauma, emotional wounding, past life influences, and other factors were veiling the experiences of the higher state. She understood that her human system needed healing and clearing from those low vibrational and stuck energies. By working with a healer and using different practices to help clear her systems, she achieved a clear and steady experience of unity. After a profound spiritual event where the Divine Mother took over Eva's system and merged with her, she shifted into the state of Brahman. A few months later, an energy transmission started to come in that Eva could transmit to others, and healing abilities started to develop as well. Another significant spiritual experience followed, where Eva was shown the source of all existence. That light merged with her system, and she was told that it was given to her back what was hers before. Eva calls this the transmission of the highest truth, which she is currently working with. Since then, Eva has helped thousands of people from all over the world, guiding them on their path to spiritual awakening and healing their human systems. Welcome, Eva Müller. Welcome to the show. So nice to have you.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm very glad to be here. And thank you for reading out the bio. Thank you, Jody. Yeah.
Yeah, and I normally like it's a lot of information for everybody, but I felt like let's give them it's like, when you read the back of a book cover, right? And you want to know if you want that's is going to be a book that you think that you want to read, and then you open the book and you get into the juicy stuff. So I felt like that's the back of the book cover that we're reading for Eva. And then now we're going to get into the juicy stuff. So welcome to the podcast. I'm excited to have you here. So let me do this, and I do this with all of our guests for a purpose because I feel like we really want to know who Eva is. Like, we really want to know who the human 3D version of Eva was. So, take us back in time when, you obviously weren't in the place you are now. Take us back in time where things were challenging for you, or there was something really hard or difficult, or your darkest moments, and then kind of take us, follow the breadcrumbs out to how you got to where you are now.
Mm. Okay, yeah. Yeah, a great approach. Um, okay, where to start? I mean, before I found meditation, I had a very ordinary life. I mean, you read it out in the bio. I was just looking for something more, but I didn't know that I was looking for something more. So basically, um, when I finished school, I thought, okay, when I'm done with that, I will find fulfillment and more of a purpose in life because I felt like there was a lack of purpose, really. I couldn't find it after finishing school. Then I started studying law. And then I finished with the law degree, and it was 6 years of studying, and it was really hard because I wasn't good at studying, and I also didn't enjoy it. But for some reason, I had this program in my system. It has to be really hard, and when it's hard and then achieved, like it's worth more than when it's easy. And so I basically struggled through university, and with that, a lot of suffering came because there was a lot of resistance and I experienced a lot of sadness and struggle and all of that. But anyways, I kind of finished. I finished it anyways. I finished university. I did it, and then I thought, okay, when I'm done, I'm gonna find this fulfillment or this enjoyment. And no, I didn't. And it was the same then afterwards. So I thought, okay, when I have a good job, so I started working in real estate, and I was kind of good at what I was doing, but still couldn't find it. Then I thought, okay, I have to become self-employed or I have to be self-employed. So I tried that as well. And basically, whatever I did, um, I was I worked really hard. I tried really hard. I put all my energy into that because I thought, okay, for some reason, sometimes in the future, there will be the time when, I get the reward, when I get the fulfillment or the enjoyment or the purpose, when it's there, when life is going to be awesome. And it never happened.
It never
And
happened.
then,
So can I ask you
yeah,
though, so you come from where? So you're originally
Austria.
from
I'm from
Austria.
Austria, yeah.
Okay. And so where did you go to university to law school?
In Austria.
In
In
Austria.
in yeah.
And what made you decide to, like, to go and become a lawyer? To me there's a very certain personality that has aspirations to become a lawyer. And to
Hmm.
go from lawyer to energy healer is such a diverse, like, change. Like, they're two different worlds completely. So tell me what what made you want to become a lawyer?
Yeah. So I didn't know what I was interested in because I wasn't really interested in anything at that time when I finished school. But most of my friends went to university, and I felt like if I'm not going to university but start a job right away, I will be worth less than my friends. So I have to study as well.
Okay.
And then I was looking, okay, what could I study? And because I wasn't really interested in anything particular, I chose law because, if I'm done with law, I still have a big range of jobs I can work in. Like it's not just being a lawyer or a judge or something like that. You can basically work in any company in the law office, for example, or also like in real estate, what I did afterwards. So it's like a very broad area you can work in. And that's why I chose law. But I wasn't specifically interested in law, and law is a very like a mental study, like it's a lot of
Right.
mental studying, and
Yeah.
I wasn't good at it at all. But I don't know, I have no idea. Like up until today, I don't really know why I had to go the hard route. I mean, this was just like how life unfolded that eventually said, okay, I'm done. I don't know what to do. I don't know. like I'm just gonna stop doing and see what's like behind there or what else is out there, you know.
Right.
Um, yeah, and so it had to be hard, and I had to struggle to basically find this point when I said, okay, it's I'm done. So
And
this was
so
just part of it.
is there a reason why so what was the family like for you, your foundation, that kind of, was there a lot of, were your parents very academic, very goal oriented? Is that kind of where that drive came through for you to?
No, not at all. They said, do what makes you happy. And they even said, stop studying if it doesn't make you happy. But I couldn't even find a plan B. It wasn't
Right.
like I couldn't see it.
Right.
I couldn't even see a plan B. So I had to go through that. So that was, I don't know, it was very fascinating actually. I had to like push myself through these hard times. And it was really hard because, for example, to escape that, I went out partying with friends and drinking, just basically to numb myself. And I had panic attacks and stuff like that. So I got a lot of feedback from life that this might not be the best idea to stay in that situation, but I just didn't know what else to do. I couldn't see it. Like it wasn't visible to me, like not even as
Right.
plan B. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's interesting because so for most and so I just kind of go back to your family dynamics because when my spirit team shows me incarnations of human souls, it's very interesting that the soul family that they incarnate into, because it usually sets a theme, right? But you're making it sound like so your family dynamic was pretty good, right? Like there was not a lot of trauma or drama or any of that. So then that then shows to me that you had to have those experiences though, so they gave them to you in life experiences, right? So instead here, we've brought her in unwounded, unbroken into like a loving environment, but now we need her to be able to see the diversity of the human experience. So let's send her to school to become a lawyer.
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
Right?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
otherwise, like if you had just, followed your parents' advice and went and become a writer or a poet or a right, you may never have had a panic attack, or you may have never had depression or anxiety or any of that stuff. And I feel like, and maybe you can let me know, I feel like any good healer worth their value needs to have had some type of experience to be able to have compassion for others. Do you think that that's part of it?
It was definitely important so that I stopped looking in the 3D world for like this gap, this lack, so that I stop everything, because that's what I did after like working for a while. I just decided, okay, I have to quit my job. I just have to like take some time off and just see what happens, because I felt like I was just stuck. So all these
Right.
steps were necessary to basically make me do that. Because otherwise, if life would have been like awesome and everything would have been easy, I wouldn't sit here. Definitely not. So yeah,
Right. If your
yeah.
career had gone, if you had jumped into your career and everything was wonderful, you probably would not be doing what you're doing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I totally
So
agree.
everything serves a purpose. So,
Yeah.
okay, so we'll go back to you've finished, you've worked, now you're doing real estate, you're, obviously doing well because, you're smart and intelligent, and we can see that, and you're making that happen, but it just still was not lighting you up.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, because I kind of wanted to have a job, and the job is also my purpose. So this was an idea I had, so
Yes.
that it doesn't feel like a job, but it's more
Yeah.
like I'm just doing that because I like it and I'm good at it because I like it. And then, this was basically the idea. And I was looking for that. So it always had to come through a job for me. I know for
Right.
some people it comes through something else, but for me it comes through a job, which it's there today, and I don't see this work as job. So it manifested.
Right.
But so apparently I had the idea, or I had the knowing inside of me that this is a thing. I just had to find it, and to find it, I had to like let go of everything what I was doing before, what I thought was the right thing to do to find it. Basically, I had to let go of all of that, of the idea. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then you just so was the first stop on kind of your spiritual, again, I go back to like, was your family spiritual? Was the meditation, prayer, was there religion in the background? Was there any of that in your background?
I mean, not really. I've basically, I was always like open to healers. So I went to healers every now and then when I felt like I was really stuck and I couldn't move forward. So I went to somebody who helped me with like energy healing. So I was open for that. I was always open for the spiritual world, even though I didn't see any beings or anything. So it was just this openness there. And I was open for like tarot card readings and astrology and all of these things. So this openness was always there. And my mom did already do a lot of self-healing as well. So she was like into homeopathy and reading books, you know, self-help books and stuff like that. So she did that, but there was like no meditation or any or religion or anything in my family. No.
And then, so what was like the first then spiritual community, or the first, what was the first kind of step that you took?
Yeah, so through personal development, I was following this podcast host online, and he also had this meditation program. And one of these, so that I got the program, did his guided meditations, and one of these meditations just took me into that deep state you were talking about in the beginning. You read out in the bio.
Right.
And his experience was just so profound because he was out of the ordinary, like really out of the ordinary. And especially when I was in that place, like all the suffering, all the searching, everything was just gone. You know, everything was gone. It was just peaceful, quiet. It felt so nice. So I was basically, it was a space I felt liberated, totally liberated of the human life, of all the ideas who I was and how I have to be and how I have to change and all these things. It was all gone. So it was so peaceful and so beautiful. And this is when I started to be more open to meditation. Okay, apparently meditation can bring me this experience. I just want to do more of that.
And
Yeah.
did it happen for you like right away? Like, was it like the first meditation you went and did, and you found euphoria? Or was it like, no, you had to meditate? Because most people, right, struggle with meditation, right? Most people have very, very busy minds and don't always get into that deep state that you're talking about, right? I feel like it's available, it's very easily attainable for most people, but if you don't know how to shut your mind off, you won't find that state.
Yeah. I mean, it was this meditation program. So I did a few meditations before that. So I don't know how many, like the 10 times or something. I repeated
Yeah.
them 10 times. And then it happened, but it wasn't because of the meditation. So it was really like a spiritual experience that took me into that deep state. Um, yeah. So
Yeah.
this was just basically life showing me, look, there's something, there's a carrot.
Right.
You can follow that now.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, so from there, so you had that experience, you went, you felt that obviously, and then you were like, I want more of that. And now I know that it's possible. So then what was the next step on your awakening?
Mm. A very good friend of mine, he is a devotee of Mother Mira. She's an incarnation of the Divine Mother. Do you know her? Do you know her by any chance?
In the way that you're speaking about it, no, but
Okay, no, she's an Indian lady. She lives in Germany, and
okay.
she transmits uh, energy, and she's an incarnation of the Divine Mother. And he's a devotee of her. And he was like, he has been meditating with her for years, and he basically told me about her and about his experiences, and he introduced me to her, and I started meditating to her on YouTube. So she has YouTube videos, and I just started meditating on YouTube, and I went to see her also a few
And where
times
was she? She's located where?
in Germany, but she's
In
also
Germany.
traveling.
Okay.
And she used to give darshan, so it was just a transmission of spiritual energy through the eyes. And so she gave big events, and I went to see her. And around the same time, I was also introduced to a spiritual group online. They were meeting on Zoom twice a week, and they were meditating in silence. But the guy who led the group was transmitting spiritual energy, and I didn't know at that time because I couldn't feel his energy transmission and also not Mother Mira's energy transmission at that time. So I couldn't feel anything. For me, it was just meditating in silence
Hmm.
for an hour. which was, of course, really challenging because, first of all, the body doesn't want to sit for an hour if you're not used to that.
Right.
And also, there is a lot of thoughts going on, right? So it's
Right.
like, uh, but, anyways, I felt, first of all, the guy who led the group, he just knew more than I did. And I felt he was really trustworthy and he knows something that I don't. And I was curious. So basically, the energy, the searching energy, just, now found this guy and this path, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna look there, not in a job anymore or in a university degree or anything like that. I'm just gonna look there now. So the same energy was online and a very dedicated energy. So that energy basically really helped me to progress fast and move forward fast on that path. So
Right.
it's a good one, but then
Well,
yeah.
it's interesting. So, but you say so when you were experiencing the transmissions from this, is she, which did she call herself a deity? What is she's? But she calls the Divine Mother, right? She's channeling.
Yes.
So you didn't necessarily feel the transmission though when you were with her, right?
Yes, so first I only saw her on YouTube. When I then saw her live, I already felt energies. So for about 3 months, I meditated just online
Okay.
with her in the group, and I couldn't feel anything. And after about 3 months, I started to feel the energy coming in. So really just first in just certain areas of the body, just a rush, the energy rush through my system. And then I started to see lights with my eyes closed and I started to have visions. So this all started to open up after 3 months. And then from then on, I basically started to feel energy all the time. So it just took 3 months so that my nervous system got used to the energy and the transmission that I was able to feel it. Yeah.
Okay. So I was just going to say, so do you think that one of the reasons why you just weren't feeling it instantly was that your own, physical body needed to like have its own upgrades, its own clearing, its own, in order to be able to feel it?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. So the nervous system needs to get used to that energy and to be refined enough to feel it.
Yeah,
And then
because
when
I
it's
mean, I've
refined,
I've
then
heard from other channelers as well. Often Bashar will talk about this, where when the beings that channel through him were first coming through, they were like overpowering for him. Like his physical body could not handle it. He had to go through the process kind of gradually so he could work his way up. Do you feel like that's kind of what happened, the process for you of that kind of getting you into a state where you could be able to be somebody that can give the transmissions themselves?
Oh yeah, definitely. So like the consciousness had to expand and also my system and the nervous system had to adjust to the energy, definitely. And then the nervous system expands and the capacity of holding energy and then transmitting it to people as well. And first, like I mean, now we go forward, but first I was working with people in one-on-one settings. I had the capacity to transmit it to one person, and now I'm working with groups, with bigger groups, and the capacity always um, expands. So
Right.
it will continue expanding totally.
And
Yeah.
was there any point though in this journey for yourself though, was there any point where you had difficulty bringing through the transmission or your physical body didn't feel well from it? Was it all just wonderful and everything was great, or were there times where you were either scared or didn't understand or things didn't feel well?
hmm I mean, when I started transmitting myself, my system was very expanded already, very opened and very cleared. So there was never an issue. It just comes through. It always just came through. Like there was no negative experience with it whatsoever. Not even working with people, um, not at all. But receiving it. So going through the whole process, there were challenging times I can share about if you want me
Yeah,
to.
for sure. I would
Yeah.
love to hear about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna continue. So I started meditating with this group regularly twice a week, and then also with Mother Mira, just on Zoom or on YouTube. And I learned there are various levels of consciousness, which you were sharing in the bio already. So self-realization, God consciousness, unity consciousness, Brahman, and Para Brahman. And I was like, okay, this is what I want. I want to go through these levels of consciousness because I will find fulfillment in my life purpose, going through these levels. So this is what I wanted.
Right.
And then I learned reaching unity consciousness. So unity consciousness, I just explained briefly, is when everything becomes one. So you as the separate being, your separation dissolves. So you become one with everything energetically. Also, the ego steps into the background and the identification with the small self falls away. So this is unity consciousness. And the guy who led the group was in unity consciousness, and he was like, yeah, it's so blissful and it's so wonderful, and life is so awesome, and there are no obstacles, no problems, nothing. Life is just perfect. And I was like, okay, this is what I want.
Right.
Yeah. So I was working my way up to unity consciousness, meditating very often and regularly, and then experiencing self-realization and then God consciousness. So self-realization, I'm just going to briefly explain it as well. It's basically when I started to observe myself from the background. So there was just the observer perspective. So I saw that thoughts are happening in me, emotions are happening in me, and I have a body, but I'm something else. I'm the observer.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what self-realization is. And with that, I started to see more of like my egoic pattern, my thoughts, what my thoughts were. I started to distinguish limiting beliefs, just limiting energies in my system. So I became more aware. And then God consciousness, it's a part of the journey. It just comes up. It's basically when there are moments of openings where God is in everything, like you just see that. So everything is golden. So I had these openings when I was out in nature, hiking or running or something like that, walking. I had these openings for a few minutes, or the longest one was for 2 hours, where I was looking at everything. Everything was just golden, beautiful. So golden underlaid. I mean, the colors were still the same. A tree was still green, but like it looked golden, sparkly, and blissful. So when I was looking at trees or plants, everything looked so blissful. It was such a beautiful experience, these
Right.
openings. It's
Right.
just part of the path. It closes down again, unfortunately, because it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of nice. Anyways, I was moving through these levels, and yeah, really enjoying it. And I didn't really have a lot of healing happening at that time or anything. So it was just always really nice and exciting. Oh, wow, a new level and a new experience. And that was all really good. And then approaching unity consciousness was very challenging for me, because I was expecting, when I'm in unity consciousness, I'm just going to share first how the opening happened. So I was meditating, and suddenly I had with my eyes closed, I saw that my skin flew off. So this is how it was shown to me. So just my skin flew off, and this was basically the outside boundary of my system. And when the skin was gone, I became one with everything. So this is how I saw it energetically. And then on the next day, I felt a hole in my chest area. So this is where when you lose it, you know that it was there. Before I didn't see that it was there, was the identification. So who I thought I was, who Eva is, my life story, all of that was like just an energy ball in the center of my chest, and it was ripped out, and there was a hole. And then the ego wanted to become enlightened, or to reach unity consciousness and experience all this bliss and joy and all of that. That was basically the energy of the ego. Before, when you still have the small self in place, the ego gets fed, and the ego thinks it's the center of our life experience, it's in charge. But then the energy gets withdrawn, and the ego gets pushed into the background, and it doesn't like that. So there is
Right.
a lot of fear. A lot of fear came up with that, a lot of anxiety, depression, like all low vibration energies just started to blow up. So this mechanism that also comes with the ego, that was possible to push these low vibration energies down, just past experiences I didn't want to see and feel, and I wasn't aware of.
Mm-hmm.
This opened up, and a lot of them just came up like out of the blue. Basically, I wasn't expecting that. So, and then also I started to feel beings entering the room, for example. So I just was able to sense other dimensions, but
Right.
just the energy of them. And unfortunately, at the same time, this just happened. I also had a negative experience with an entity that attacked me for about 2 weeks. And because I was so open and I was so sensitive, it was very frightening, and it was really able to manipulate me at that time because I had so much fear in my system.
Right.
And yeah, and luckily I had somebody who was able to channel this being and to remove it. So when I knew what it was quite funny. I'm just going to share that. So first, I want to say to the listeners, from my experience now working with people, 99.9% of those experiences are mostly our own energies coming up. And because it's unfamiliar, because we don't know that they are actually in our system, we can project, that we can project it that this might be beings, or this might be like a demon, or I don't know, something negative.
Right. Right.
When I work with people, it's like 99.9%, it's just their own stuff and
Yeah.
it's just projected. So this was just a very unfortunate experience, but I had to go through it also. Probably that I know what it is, when you work later on in this field, that you can distinguish.
Right.
Um, and yeah, it was attacking me, and at night when I was asleep, when I was out walking the dog, and
And
I
so what
was
was it when you say it was
terrified.
attacking you? What were you feeling? What was
Yeah, it
happening?
was really just an energy came in, and it felt disgusting. It felt dense. It pulled in the fear out of my system. It felt dense. It was ice cold. So it was like something ice cold going through my system, my body. Um, and yeah, it just brought up. I mean, it's brought up my low vibrational energies. It brought up my fear and my anxiety, of course, because
Right.
if you don't have that in your system, you can feel these beings, and it doesn't really matter. You're like, you don't care. I mean, you probably don't even feel them when your system is cleared, but like if you have those energies in your system, you resonate, and then they can come.
Right. It becomes almost um like more profound, more complex, right? So
Yeah,
if you have the ability to, if you've cleared a lot of it, when it comes in, it's less bothersome, right? It's
yeah.
not as jarring. Yeah.
Yeah, so I had one experience with a guy later on when I was working in one-on-one settings, and he evoked through reading a book a demon, and I worked with him and I felt it, and it didn't do anything to me. I could feel it, I could feel the energy, I could feel the intention, because I can read energies, but it didn't do anything to me, and so I removed it, so that was fine. But this was
Hmm.
basically the only time I felt it or I experienced it working with somebody.
Right.
So it was just good. It's good to have these experiences to know how to deal with what to do and how to deal with them. And in the end, they can't do anything to you anyways. It's just energy.
Right.
But
That's
if you
that's
don't
important to
know,
remember, right? Yes.
yes, if you don't know, of course it's frightening. I didn't know what happened, when I had that experience going to into unity consciousness and wearing so sensitive and having this being there. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what it was. It
Right.
was just really frightening. I tried to do, um, you know, there are like there were like meditations or guided meditations or even sounds I did. So sounds, clearings and stuff like that. When you can, so they were for removing entities. So
Right. Right.
different,
Or
yeah.
like cord cuttings and all
Yeah,
that. Right.
exactly. And for example, I did that and it felt like this entity was just laughing at me
Right.
here.
Right.
So I was sitting there in the middle of the night trying to get rid of it and it was laughing at me. Yeah, so that was tough.
Right.
Um, like one time I tried to remove it and it felt like jelly coming all over my body and numbing my body. And then I asked people around me if they can help me, and they tried, but then it also went to them. So
Right.
that was actually, yeah, it was a very frightening experience. But then I went to a healer, and she's also a channeler, and she channeled this being. And it was a man from a past life who was really in love with me and who wanted to marry me, but I didn't want to marry him, so I rejected him. And he was really angry. And he came in and he just, yeah, he came in this life and gave me this horrible experience, a
So a
payback.
bleed proof through dimensions, right? Then, so he would
Yeah.
have been, yeah, that's always so much fun.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, she channeled him and she also expressed really well his emotions. So that
Right.
was just then. I felt empathy, for him because he was really upset. So it was really good to see it that way. But yeah, it took me a long time to get over this experience, to be honest, like few months. And I'm just gonna continue. So this was just part of the unity consciousness opening.
Right.
Then there were all these low vibrational energies there. I couldn't see things anymore straight. It was like everything looks like pixeled. Like it doesn't matter what I looked at, everything looked like pixeled. And again, there was just this fear in my system. And also I couldn't meditate anymore with energy transmissions because my system was so sensitive. It felt like needles on my skin.
Right.
I was so sensitive. And then also I couldn't really eat, no, like the food I used to eat, for example, couldn't have coffee or sugar or any heavy foods, like any fats or anything, because I was so sensitive that
Mhm.
yeah, it just my body couldn't handle it. So it was just a very tough time, but it didn't last long. So I was very lucky. That only lasted for about 2 months.
Right.
Um,
Which is probably long enough when you're going through something so, right?
yeah.
Like, what's going on with me?
Yeah. I mean, I was also very lucky because I had help. I had people supporting me. And I had the healer who worked with me. So I had help. I definitely had help. And this is why it was, let's say, easier to get out of it. But it was
Right.
still, yeah, a kind of a tough experience. Yeah.
And then, so then what happened from there?
Yeah. Um, okay. So there was no bliss or joy or love what I was experiencing in unity consciousness. And after these 2 months, I started to feel fine again. I was able to meditate again, not that regularly, but a few times a week.
Hmm.
And the good friend of mine who introduced me to meditation in the first place, he was like, okay, find somebody who you can trust, like who you can basically give your life into that person's hand because you don't know how to handle the situation, and just ask that person to help you. Or in that case, it was Mother Mira, the incarnation of the Divine Mother. Give yourself to the Divine Mother and she will help you. And that was so helpful because, I mean, you can't talk to Mother Mira. She's just transmitting this energy. She has books. I mean, there is information on her website, but she doesn't talk. So it's really about the energy. So
Right.
what I did is, and there are books of her. So there is an autobiography, and she wrote books, Q&A books. And what I did, I started to really connect with her in various different ways. So reading her book every day, doing japa. So she recommends reciting the name of a divine being because it's a high vibration, right? So I recited her name all day, or when I remembered. Um, then I did her meditations online on YouTube to connect to her. And she gives darshan in the beginning. So she always looks into the camera for, I don't know, about like 5 minutes or 3 minutes. And when she did that, I always asked her for help, or I gave her my fears or whatever it was. Yeah, I asked her for help. And then there was the meditation. And I always felt very good, taken care of, nurtured, looked after, like in the hands of a mother. This is really how
Right.
I
Right.
felt with her.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was so helpful. And I before this experience happened with the unity consciousness, I saw her live um, in her residence in Germany, and one of her employees gave me a little card with an image of her and a saying, and it's a German saying, so I have to translate it, but it kind of means no matter what happens in your life, it happens because of the love of the Divine Mother.
Hmm.
And so
That's
I was
beautiful.
like, okay, yeah. And this carried me like through this whole thing as well, because I knew, okay, everything that happened to me it has a reason that this
Right.
happened.
Right. Right.
And also she would be there at the same time helping me. And this is how I felt. So she really helped me through this whole thing. And also friends, like spiritual friends, because in this group, the group I joined, the meditation group, I went to retreats as well before
Right.
that,
Right.
and I met them in person, and then they, you know, you kind of make spiritual friends because my normal friends they wouldn't have understood.
Right.
And so they helped out, and also my spiritual teacher at that time. So they were all available. So I had help. I was really lucky. I had help. Um, yeah, going through this.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. And I love the so spirit was just showing me that, the idea that, you weren't putting money out to be able to connect with this energy of the Divine Mother, right? Like it was not like you had to go someplace and you had to pay a bunch of fees and you had to do. She's on YouTube and they're giving her the ability to reach and connect to everybody everywhere, right? Which I feel like is super important for people to know when, especially when you're on the part of your spiritual path or journey, which has been several times for me, where it just feels like there are no teachers around to help you or no guides around to help you. It kind of feels like you're just in this by yourself. And then all of a sudden somebody like that shows up and you're like, "Oh, okay. Here are some open arms for me to come to. Here's a place of safety that I can, go through what I'm going through with the divine, right?"
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely, definitely. And to me, it was just so helpful that she is the incarnation of the Divine Mother. So, I mean, this is an energy, right? The Divine Mother is a quality of
Mhm.
energy. But I needed a person to see that. Like at that time, I wouldn't have been able just to connect to the Divine Mother as like informal, like not having a form.
Right.
Afterwards, I worked with the Divine Mother with the formless version, but for a very long time, she was my to go to. I mean, she still is, because I think I mean, she's an avatar, and avatars are just so powerful beings.
Right.
Their light, they carry so many possibilities. So I'm really still loving her work.
So maybe you could
But
just, because not everybody that watches or listens to the podcast is going to be at the level of where you are, and I find that there's like a lot of terminology in the spiritual world that is kind of like used, and everybody's just to assume what it means, but we don't know what it means. So when you are referring to the Divine Mother, can you explain to us what that is?
mhm. So the Divine Mother is an energy quality. It has a lot of energy qualities. So the love, for example, then on the other hand, also the fierceness, the caring. So the Divine Mother is a spiritual energy that's specifically also looking after the human. So on the one hand, she helps the human to awaken, and on the other hand, she's nurturing the human as well. So it's, I mean, when you receive the transmission, the energy, it feels different every time. So it really, you get what you need. So
Right.
it, that the light contains a lot, but the Divine Mother is basically um, the bliss, the joy, the aliveness. And then God, on the other hand, is the emptiness, the silence, if you want to distinguish it in that way. So the
Right.
Divine Mother has this beautiful quality, that what I just really cherished, that she looks after the human as well, because awakening often is just about consciousness and, you know, going beyond the human, not caring about the human. And okay, I'm not the human, I'm more than that. So, and like the human is left out. But what I really liked about the Divine Mother, and especially Mother Mira, that she looked after the human aspect as well. Because I needed that definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody does that. So then, if you go back and if we talk about words like God and Creator and Source, is it meaning that the Divine Mother energy is coming from that energy as well, coming through that energy, or is it an energy within itself?
So can you please explain again what you exactly mean? I'm not 100% sure if I understood.
So okay, so people obviously understand the word God, although it has
Mm,
different interpretations for different people depending on where you are. But if we talk about, in the spiritual world, when we talk about God, source, creator, those are three different words that we all use to describe the same thing, being like the beginning of creation. is that where the divine mother energy comes through that light, or is it created on its own separately?
I mean, yeah, it's kind of hard to explain. I mean, there is nothing separate. The divine mother is the creation part, and God is basically what's beyond creation. So the divine mother is happening in the God energy, but it's something I'm not really working with. I'm working with the flavors of the divine mother energy. So, and this is also what I experienced. You know, it's just these flavors, the love, the joy, the nurturing energy, the caring energy. So it's just flavors of energy, and God also has flavors, and we just label them with these names.
Okay.
So I just see energy and I see the flavors, I see the information in the energy, and then we can give them names like God and Divine Mother to, distinguish.
Okay. Yeah. So is it
Yeah.
kind of like, so Spirit's just showing me, it's like if we see the sun and you can see the sun there, say we see the sun, and that, just as an example, just say that that's God, creator, source. And then the rays of the sun are like, that can be the divine mother. That those are, is that the energy that you're working with then? All of those frequencies that come through that?
Yeah. Um, I'm just, okay, the energy I'm working with, so the Divine Mother is an energy that's in creation.
Right.
And then there is a space beyond creation, and that exists. And I experienced that for a certain amount of time. So the Brahman consciousness is
Right.
basically when you step outside of creation and you experience looking from outside of creation into creation, and you live life from outside of creation for a while. And what does exactly that means, or how it manifests in your everyday life experience, is you look at something and it manifests in front of your eyes, and it's only there when you look at it, and when you look away it collapses and it doesn't exist, it's gone. Even though it's people, it's buildings, whatever it is, it only exists and you only have a sense of it when you look at it. And then when you look away, the sense of it is gone. You have no experience, nothing, like not even friends, family, not nobody, like they don't exist when you don't see them.
Right.
Yeah, and other experiences come with that as well. I'm just going to share, for example, when I looked into the far distance, it looked like a movie screen, and everything in between me and the movie screen is 3D, and it's just a projection of my own consciousness, and there is nothing behind this movie screen, because everybody has their own consciousness, and everything is just projected into their own little consciousness bubble for us. So this is why everybody's very individual. And also I was fully detached from the human experience. There was no emotions. I couldn't feel any emotions, no love, joy, or also no anger, fear, or anything. Like, was total liberation of the human. And also I felt like I was in a deep, deep meditation state all the time, all day long. I mean, I could function in a very normal way, but I felt like in a deep meditation all the time. So when I talked to somebody, for example, I had to come out of this meditation, talk to that person. And when there was a pause in the conversation, I was like sucked up into that meditation. And then when we continued, I had to come back down. So it was kind of exhausting talking to people at that time. So I started to, like, not meet so many people. I wasn't interested. And I lost like the sense of this reality completely. So sense of differentiating between materials, between people, between like that one car is more worth than another, for example. Like the
Right.
like that there is everything is exactly the same. There is no sense for any difference in qualities anymore. Also before that, so in creation, there is always an energy exchange between so my system and what I was looking at, what I was experiencing. So was it a tree or a person, or I don't know, just a thing, a pen? There's always an energy exchange, and this energy exchange stopped. So Brahman is empty. There is nothing there. So there is an experience of nothing.
Hmm.
You can't experience
And
anything
how did that
because
affect your relationships then? So, like, were you with a partner at the time, or did you have children? Or like, I'm just wondering how somebody that has all of these real life things going on, how could they experience that without people thinking they're crazy, right?
Yeah. So when starting the spiritual journey and up until now, I have the same partner. So just sharing that. Um, and yeah, I mean, I call it the human love. So when I had the shift into Brahman, the human love fell away. And from that moment on, then after, so in Brahman, there was no love experienced at all. And after a while, the quality of love started to come back in, but it was unconditional love. So the same love for everybody. So there is no distinguishing between partner or stranger on the street. The love is exactly the same. So the human love, this love, what you experience for like a partner in a human relationship, like from the heart level,
Mhm.
this can't be experienced anymore. This is gone. So there
And
is exactly.
how was your partner's experience at the time then? Was this person going through something similar, or were they
Yeah. No, he's not interested in spirituality, or he's not spiritual at all. And the only thing he really was aware of was my clearing, when I had emotional releases out of the blue,
right?
because I had a lot of that, especially. So just to go back a little bit, so after these 2 months in unity consciousness, when I had a lot of releases happening, I had the opening of unity, so I was one with everything. I experienced myself in everything. So I was the self. I was everything. There was oneness, right?
Mhm.
But then it closed down. It opened up again. It closed down. Opened up again. It closed down. And I was wondering why that so was. And this was really because there was energies coming up that were stuck in my system from the
Right.
past. So just for example, something, something triggers you and anger comes up, and you are in the experience of anger, and you see your current experience in the present moment through the lens of anger, but the anger was stuck in my system from somewhere in the past. So I experienced quite a lot of that. And then also the unity was gone in that moment or for that while. So sometimes, the energy is there for a few minutes, and sometimes it was there for a day. Um, and then I learned, okay, I have to heal and clean my system. This is when this understanding came in, that I can experience the unity all the time, and also the good part of unity consciousness, which I was looking for. So the bliss, the love, and all the beautiful parts of that.
Right.
And then I started to do practices to clear some scars. So this is what I specifically did, is clearing karma out of my system. And what karma exactly is, or how I see it, is the old emotional energies that are stuck in our system and that get triggered up, in our present moment experience, that can get triggered up. And this lowers our vibration, and they're still in our system, and it's like we don't need them. We can totally exist without them.
Right.
And then I started, so I worked with a healer, also did like practices to clear all these energies. And the meditation and meditating with transmissions also helped to clear them out of my system. So I cleared quite a lot.
Mhm.
Um, and then I had an experience with the Divine Mother. So this is when I had to shift into Brahman. So I'm just going to share because it's interesting about the love aspect, why this went away. So I was on a spiritual retreat. We were listening to devotional Divine Mother music, which was really nice. And suddenly I had experienced that the Divine Mother came into my system. I just had the feeling that this was what happened. So it was a female energy, really strong, infinite, divine. Like it had all the information that could be in, like, not intellectual, but like all the information that's out there. Um, Infinite, fierce love, like pure love. There was so much love coming through. And it was such a profound and beautiful experience because I didn't have any of that before. So she was looking, like, she was in my system looking out through my eyes. I was gone totally. Like there was no experience of anything except for that. And then I asked her again, how can I experience this all the time?
Right.
And she was like, okay, you have to get rid of human love. So I was shown over a course of 2 weeks what my system, or what I learned, what human love is, and the energies that were still in my system around that. So let's say friendships, or like love in a relationship, I only love you when you love me back, or I love you because you're my mother, or I love you because you give me gifts, or conditional love.
Right.
And so it was shown to me, and then I gave it away. So I always gave her what was shown to me. And then after a course of 2 weeks, all the love was gone. And this is when the Brahman shift happened, because then suddenly everything was empty. I emptied out my system basically with that. Everything was empty. And then the Brahman came in, what I was talking about before. And interesting, my partner, just to come back to that, because he's not aware what's happening on that path or what really healing and clearing means.
Mm-hmm.
And he also doesn't really have access to these extreme low vibrational energies than I had. So he's maybe it's just not in his experience, and he can't go that low. So he could be a bit angry, but it's very shallow angry. Like he could never have like this, and maybe it's also the difference between women and men, right? We
Right.
women, we have more emotional. So he doesn't really understand, and so he couldn't also understand what I was going through, and he also wasn't really aware of it either to that extent. I mean, I
Right. So he had no
shared it.
bias about it then.
Yeah, I shared it, but if you have no experience of that at all,
Right.
like it's like, okay, interesting.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's very interesting. And again, it's interesting that they kind of put you with a partner that's kind of very neutral like that, right? Because, in order to be able to let you do everything that you needed to do, he kind of needed to be that neutral space, right?
Yeah, so I definitely got the information that this was a contract before we came into this life,
Right.
this
Right.
this relationship, and yeah, I mean, I couldn't have a better partner for this. It's easier, of course, if only one person goes through the whole thing. If
At
two
the
people are
time.
going through
Yes.
yeah, at the time, especially, yeah, at the time, maybe his time is coming.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, definitely, that was. An agreement from before this incarnation.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
Mm.
And
Mm.
so there you are. Now you're having, the divine mother in you, seeing through you. The you is completely gone. Like, how long does that last? How long does it and then what happened with that from there?
Yeah, I mean, this didn't last so long because this is an issue of the nervous system. Because our system is so small and tiny and unrefined compared to that power of energy that came in. So I only had this experience. I mean, it was quite long for that, anyways. It was about 20 minutes.
Right.
Um, yeah, and then after that, there was just so much love there, so much divine love, like the most beautiful love. You can just cry because it's so beautiful.
Right.
This you feel it in every cell of the body. It's just this love, and this stayed for the next 2 weeks. I mean, not 24/7, but every now, like every time when I meditated, this love came in, and I tried to connect to this love, and it was so beautiful. At the same time, I had to give away my human love.
Right.
And then until the Brahman shift happened and all was gone. And this is basically what I was missing in Brahman. So, I mean, Brahman is very different. It's such a different experience. And it's probably was the most profound experience on the path, because like everything changes. Before, when you one with everything, there is still like, you still have like, there is I mean, the best way I can describe it is there is an individual having this experience of the oneness. So there is still somebody there. But then in Brahman, this somebody leaves. So there is nobody there. There is
Right.
just the body,
There's
and there's
nothing. There's
everything else is
nothing.
gone.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is the most profound difference with the Brahma shift.
Yeah. And so now, since that experience and having that experience, now you are able to also do what because of that? What
Mm.
started to change and happen after that?
Yeah. Okay. So I was in this state for about 3 months for the Brahman, and I was missing the human love. I was just missing love because there is no experience of anything. It's
Right,
empty.
right,
Um, and so, and also because I wasn't really a lot of help for my family and friends and partner, because I didn't really interact with them anymore. There was no interest, in them. I thought, okay, this situation needs to change. And I just knew, because people walked the path before me and I knew them, they were friends, that there is something afterwards.
right.
And then I just decided, okay, I want this to end. I want to come back.
Hmm.
And it happened. I didn't know that this was possible, but
Right.
it really happened. And then, so basically from the moment on I decided it, the human quality started to come back in. I mean, this took a few weeks and months.
Right.
They started to come back in. So basically coming back into creation. So the love came back, but unconditional love, the joy came back, but then joy of existence. So it's not like, so emotions are not before, before I would say emotions are more like this, ding, 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 up and down, up and down, up and down. Now emotions are more like this,
Like much softer, much
a lot
kinder, gentler.
softer,
Yeah.
exactly. And for example, joy is not like, you go to a party and you have so much fun with your friends,
Right.
but
Right.
it's more like just because you are existing, there is joy there.
Right. Yeah. So
It's more
not
subtle.
overjoy. That's just
Yes, so everything is more subtle. Also, there is bliss there all the time,
right.
24/7. I experience all the time, but it's the quality of it is also very subtle. And it's not like, before spiritual experiences people share, they have like ecstatic bliss or there's so much love in the bliss and all of that. So this is also all gone. It's just the bliss of existence. Because I exist, there is bliss there,
Mm-hmm.
more subtle. So it all has changed a little bit. And also the system, so when I refer to the system, the body is like the densest part of the system, and they're the energy body. So when I talk about it's just the whole thing, our body and the energy bodies, the system changes a lot going through these levels
I
of
would imagine.
consciousness.
Yeah.
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 So it becomes more open. So before it's like it's very closed down, but then it becomes more open. So more light can flow and more life energy can flow. And also past and future, it's just a mechanism in our system that we can experience a past and future, but there is no past and future. So there is only the present moment. But this mechanism gives us the experience of it. And it's, for example, we have an experience of something we don't prefer, then the energy gets stuck in our system. Let's say anger. We're angry. Okay, there is this uh, whatever experience, we have anger, and the anger gets stuck because we are mostly not fully living our emotions through fully. They get stuck. This is how a
Right.
normal human system functions, that's not open. Energies get stuck throughout our lifetimes. All energies we're not fully living through get stuck, and these are most energies from the age of 3 years on. So let's say we had an experience 2 weeks ago of anger, and now we're sitting here and we're thinking about this experience, and then the anger gets triggered up. It comes up and we relive it. So we relive the anger, we feel the anger, then thoughts are coming in, and there's this whole circle thing going on, right? And
Right.
basically what we do, we are creating the past just by that.
Right. Right.
Because the energy that's in our system in the present moment gets triggered up, the thoughts create the stories, and this is how we create a past. And the same is with the future. We take past stuck energies and we project them into the future. I'm so angry with this person, I'm never going to meet this person again in the future.
Right.
Okay? Yeah, but I mean, we are in the present moment. And this starts breaking down so that there is no possibility of having an experience of a past and future. We can think, like intellectually, I can think about what happened yesterday or the day before, but mostly also these thoughts are like they crumble, it's hard to get back into the thoughts or the mental part, but there is no possibility to tap into past and future, for example, anymore. This is gone. And then everything is happening in the present moment, and everything I experience in the present moment. So there is a situation, for example, we are sitting here, we are going through this podcast, which is very beautiful. So I have positive feelings about it. There is joy present, it's
Right.
interesting conversation. And when this experience is over, I go and do something else. It will have like all the energies around it. So the emotions will fully leave the system and they're fully gone. And I can't tap back into it anymore. It's gone from the minute I get up and I'm
Wow.
gone. Yeah. So this is a very major change of the system, and it really changes life experience because nothing gets stuck anymore ever.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It would be just like, having fresh, clean clothes to wear every single moment. Your clothes never get
Exactly.
dirty. They just keep
Yeah.
staying clean.
Exactly. And then also like, there are like if you experience problems in the present moment, there is always also the answer somewhere there.
Right.
There is also like at the same time, and this is what usually happens. But because our system is so full, so when we experience a problem, we have, for example, thoughts, oh my God, what I'm gonna do, how I'm gonna overcome these obstacles, or there are fears triggered up, or resistance or whatever. So like there is so much energies are in our system that we don't actually see the solution.
Right.
And because when the system is cleared, there's nothing getting triggered up. The thoughts are, I mean, there are thoughts, but they're like, they're not important. They're not really part of my experience. And if they
Right.
are, I basically allow them to be. Um, it's basically, okay, there's an obstacle. And at the same time, because we all have a potential that's there and we can access it then anytime. Because when the system is silent and there's
Right.
nothing going on,
Right. Right.
it's just all there. It's coming in the present moment, and also intuition. So everything I need to do is just an information that comes up, and you need to do this now. And there's nobody who thinks about it. Oh, should I really do that, or shouldn't I do that, or is it the best option? Like what the
Right.
mind would do. It's
Right.
just okay. You do this. I just do it.
Right. Right. Yeah.
This is it. So this is all. The main experience is the silence,
Right.
and in the silence is the human with the emotions, with the thoughts, with the senses, and the experience in the present moment. And it's like it's just leaving in the present moment, one experience after the other. It's just unfolding. That's it. It's just a flow. And life, like manifestation, um, is happening more direct and faster, because before we are just in the way of it,
Right. Right.
because with our limiting beliefs, or the stuck energies, the karmic energies in our
Right.
system, we basically stop manifestation happening faster.
Right.
So yeah, everything is better but very different as well.
Wow. And so
Yeah.
is that state of being, because I mean, for somebody myself who reads energy, as you're explaining this, it was like just making perfect sense. It was just completely, I could understand that, with now your vibrational frequency changing, there's not the chaos that comes in. Now it's just the light, the solutions, the guidance. That stuff comes in. The other stuff, the frequencies are so dim that they don't affect anything that part of your creation. They don't affect part of your creation anymore. So
Yeah.
for the average person, is that attainable? Can we do that? Can we be there? Do we have to go through all of the processes that you went through, or is this something that we can be taught or we can learn or remember?
hmm Yeah, I mean, this is basically what I'm doing now, what I'm helping people with.
Right.
So that yeah, okay, just to go back. So when I had the Brahman experience and the human aspect started to come in, also an energy transmission started to come in, which I could transmit. So I was used to other people's energy transmissions, but there was the one specifically coming through me. And because I was familiar with the whole concept of transmissions, I just knew what it was, and I knew that I can transmit it. So it was very like simple for me. And then I started working with people and transmitting energy in silence. And after also like it took a few weeks, um, the energy started to move my hands, and information came in, and I started to share this information, and how I see the human system and how I clear it and heal it and open it, all of that just started to form itself by working with people in one-on-one settings. So
Right.
basically
Right.
what I'm working with just formed itself. Um, and what I do is, so the true nature, when I talk about the true nature, I talk about the Brahman. And the Brahman is basically behind the human experience, but with all the human qualities being back. This
Okay.
is when I talk about the true nature. And the what I shared, what comes with that experience of the Brahman, so like living in the present moment and all of that, what I was talking about before, I can bring, or this is what I do in my work, I bring in these experiences into people's current life experience already. So you don't have to go through all the levels of consciousness to start having more contact to your true nature, or to like move more into the direction. I help you with that, coming from this perspective, through healing and clearing the human system, like what's behind there is the true nature, and I can bring in these aspects already for you. And I also bring in experiences for people so that they understand what I'm talking about at the same time. So when I talk about unity consciousness, for example, I can give people an experience of unity consciousness energetically, that they understand what it means.
Right.
Because when you go, when you are on the path of awakening, there can be a lot of fear there, right? Fear of the unknown, fear of the future. Will I lose my family? What does it mean for my job, for my body, for my health? You don't really know what's going to happen. And the human system really likes consistency, safety, like all these
Right.
things, habits. It has habits. And this is all beyond that. So it's kind of frightening. And I know that because it was the same for me, even though I
Right.
had people walking this path in front of me, and I knew how it happened for them, how it unfolded for them, but I still didn't know how it's going to be for me. So there was
Right.
this fear there.
Yes. Yes.
And I bring in these experiences for people that they know, okay, it's just there's nothing to be fearful about,
Right.
even though fear can be triggered up. For example, when I dissolve your identity, like the who you think you are, when I
Mhm.
dissolve that for you, it's possible that fear arises because the ego doesn't like that, because the
Right.
ego, it's used to that energy, receiving this energy. And when you withdraw that energy, there is fear. It's the fear of dying, is the core fear we have.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
this can basically come up, but it's all in a guide. So I work with guided meditations, and at the same time working on people's system. It's a safe space, and you're always infused in divine light. It's always really nice. And I
Yeah.
basically just help people to heal and clear their system and realize their true nature. Yeah,
Yeah.
this
That's
is what I
beautiful.
do.
So, do you think that you could do a transmission with us today? So, and I mean, it's lots for people to try and understand sometimes that there's no such thing as space or time. So we can do healings via distance. They don't have to be here live with us when we're recording it, because the frequency, the aspect of what we do and what you do is going to be, it's there always.
Yeah.
So I would love for people to be able to experience something that you do, um, whether it's a removal of our karmic stuff, whether it's a you feel into what do you feel like our listeners could use? I mean, this is traditionally this time of year is like a denser, harder time, right? People are very emotional, things feel struggle, there's that. What kind of transmission can you do for us collectively right now that would help that?
Mm-hmm. Okay, first, I'm just going to explain from my point of view how this works with energy healing, and
Right.
specifically distant energy healing. So I create the healing on an energetical place, like it's like in a library. And then by watching this YouTube, or for example, one of my YouTube videos or whatever, you just tap into that what's already created. So it's there on an energetical level.
Right.
This is why this works. And also, this is why this works when we're meditating in a big group and there are people from all over the world. It's on an energetical level. We can all tap into the same energy. It doesn't really matter where we are located. So
Right.
that's why
Yeah.
this works and why this is so convenient.
Right. Yes.
um, and the transmission I'm working with, I call it the transmission of the highest truth, because it contains a lot of information. It contains everything that's in creation. And when you receive it, for example, you receive exactly what you need in the present moment, and it pulls you towards your personal highest truth. So everybody has a very individual highest truth. We have individual souls that have an individual soul plan. We need to experience individual experiences and have individual learnings and all of that. And the transmission helps you. So when you're exposed to that over a certain amount of time, of course, because it needs to work on your system, it works in a system on a cellular level and transforms your system on a cellular level towards your personal highest truth. So that means everything that's not of your highest truth will start falling away, but always like for your highest good. So the transmission always works for your highest good. It's not going to rip anything out of your life,
Right. It
that's
happens
precious.
in the way that you need it to happen. It's not going
Yeah,
to
and
be
it's in a gentle way, and this is what
right.
I love about this transmission. It also looks after the human, so it's in a gentle way. It's more of a recognition. It will show you, oh, maybe this person is not good for me, or this life situation, I'm gonna change it. It's more in that kind of way. what can happen, I mean, in general, it's not going to happen with this small meditation, but what can happen is healing and clearing, so that there's just emotions arising and they're just there for that for a certain amount of time, but then it's leaving the system quite fast. So the healing and clearing is happening quite fast.
Mm.
And then when the system is more balanced, then it can pull you towards your personal highest truth, and that's basically the most optimum timeline. So that's
Beautiful.
just, yeah, basically what the transmission does.
Beautiful. That
And,
perfect.
and what I do, so I'm channeling it. So that's the first part. And then I only share what the transmission is doing. So the transmission will decide what's going to happen. So I'm just sitting down. I close my eyes. I have a little opening thing I'm going to do. You will see it. So I work on your system. I use my hands. And I'm using my hands. It's basically, when you work with energy, you do it with intention.
Right.
And if I would just do it with intention, I could do it, but sometimes I do like healings for 70 minutes, or like even 30 minutes is a lot to do when you just do it with intention, a lot
Mm-hmm.
of concentration, and I can just use my hands as well. So it's just a lot easier. And this
Right.
is what I do. And then information comes through, you will see, and I just share that. It's all very simple and easy. Yeah.
Perfect.
So what you can do is just sit back, relax, and meditate along. So close your eyes. You don't need to do anything else. And everybody who's listening, if you get the chance to sit down and close your eyes, that would be great. And if you don't, you can just listen to it. That's also very fine as well. No problem. Okay, and I need like a half a minute just to bring this whole thing in. And then I start sharing. And can you just let me know how long I have time to do this for? Like
Yeah.
five,
So if
10.
we could go 10, 15 minutes,
All
I
right.
think that would be comfortable for everybody, could be able to sit through that and be able
All right.
to know that they have that part of it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, right. Let's start and enjoy. Okay, I start with opening up the energy field, bring in light, then I expand the energy field. So expanding the energy field helps to hold more light in the system, and also more awareness comes with that as well. So I'm expanding. And the energy field can always be more expanded. So that's basically a never-ending process. And the light that's coming into our system is higher information. So light is information. It's information beyond the mind. The system understands the information, but the mind, yeah, parts of it. And this is what I'm sharing. So I'm expanding, still expanding. And then I fill up the expanded space with light. And then I clear surface energies. So surface energies are all sorts of energies you've been exposed to over the past 1 or 2 days, and also emotions. Emotions are also just energies. This is the level where I work, so an emotional level. And energies that have been triggered up over the past 1 or 2 days. So the ones that are still floating around the top of your system, and clearing them, because these energies are just creating noise. And also they are in the way of more light entering the system. So I clear the surface energies. And right away, Maybe you can feel that more light is entering, and the light is flowing in like a waterfall. There's so much light coming in, and the light is filling up the body, and then also all our energy bodies and the area around us. So it's high vibrational divine light. It's coming in. And then I open up the central energy channel. The central energy channel is located in the center of our energy field, and it flows from it goes from the root to the crown chakra, and this is where life energy flows through our system. So life energy flows from the root to the crown chakra, falls back down in all directions and flows up again and so on. So it's a constant flow. And we just want to have as much life energy flowing as possible. And life energy is life itself. So life is flowing through our system, so the experience in the present moment. So we live through that experience for a certain amount of time with all our emotions, our senses, our thoughts. We live through it, and then it's also projected into our consciousness. So this is basically the experience we have on the outside. So it's a projection of our own consciousness. Then we live through this, and then the next moment, when this experience is over, in the next moment another experience can come in, and so on. So it's a constant unfolding of experiences in the present moment. And the more life energy is flowing and the more open the central channel is, so it's more open, the more the system is cleared and healed, because stuck energies are just in the way of this flow. Then life is also experienced as more of just a flow. It's just the unfolding of experiences. So this is when life gets a lot simpler and easier and nicer at the same time, because it's just the unfolding. Okay. And with that, also what I was talking about before, past and future, this mechanism starts to break down. So it starts to break down more and more, and then eventually one day it's fully gone. Like past and future doesn't exist anymore. We can't create this experience anymore. But by doing this work, past and future, the possibility to have this experience starts breaking down, so that we see ourselves being more in the present moment, more and more and more. Okay, so this is happening right now. Breaking down this mechanism. And then I accelerate the life energy. And I help it to flow more. So from the root to the crown chakra, and then falls back down in all directions and so on. So it's just a constant flow. And I help it to flow more. Okay, and there's a lot of light present. It just wants to get into our system. So I open up the crown chakra, because it flows in through the crown chakra. I mean, there is already light flowing in, but by opening up, it's just there's more, there's a bigger channel basically where light can enter. And I also open up the third eye chakra, because there is also a lot of light coming in, and the heart chakra. So just more. They're already open, but I just open them up more. Maybe you can feel right away that there is a lot more light flowing in, and that the system is already more relaxed than it was before. Just more relaxation there, but the energy of relaxation comes in now as well, and also the energy of balance. So balance is really important, just to balance everything out. The energy of balance is coming in, and the energy has the information of balance, and it basically goes into every cell of the body, and every cell also has like a little energy body, and they start vibrating to that frequency of balance, so that we just experience more balance. Then I'm clearing a few energies out of the system. So I clear stress, I clear the energy of stress, and I just clear in general the dense energies. So energies that makes us feel dense. So in general, I clear them. That makes us feel stressed. So I clear those energies. I go into the second chakra and clear the energy of resistance. So resistance of these intense times, because yes, as you mentioned before, I totally see that as well. Around this time of the year, the energies are always very intense, and this just makes us feel a lot more uncomfortable. A lot of healing and clearing is happening by itself as well. So just things are coming up. Emotions are coming up. We are led into situations that bring up these emotions as well. And in general, the energies are dense and there is a resistance in the system. And when there is a resistance, which is very natural, because of course we don't want to feel those low vibrational energies or those energies in general, we just hold them longer in our system than necessary. So if we go through an experience, we can experience this experience, for example, an anger because of a situation that makes us angry. We can experience the anger for 5 seconds, or we can experience the anger for 5 days or even 10 days. And this happens because we close down our system. We don't want to feel it. We don't want to feel the anger, or we just can't let go of it. So either way, we just keep it in our system and then we stay in that experience. And our system doesn't prefer low vibrational energies, so there is in general a resistance to them. And I'm just clearing the resistance to experience dense and in general low vibrational energies, because that means the system says, okay, yes, they are there, but then I can let them go for good so that they can just leave the system, and then I can go back to what I prefer, what I like, what makes me feel better. So to those kind of energies. So I clear the resistance towards life itself. So this is a core energy, the resistance to life, and then the system closes down and it's holding in these energies, and that's what we don't want. We want the flow happening. So I clear those energies, resistance, and I clear fear out of the root chakra. So fear, all sorts of different fears, but the fear of dying is always the core fear. And then other fears are on top of that. So most of them are like fear of the future, fear of change. So there's a lot of fear of change, and not wanting to change. And heart chakra is always the identification with these fears. So I don't want to change. I don't want that my life is changing. I don't want that my surrounding is changing. I don't want changes. I don't want to change. Don't want changes. I don't want them. I don't want them. I don't want them. So I clear this energy. I want that everything stays the same. I want everything to stay in a way that I feel comfortable. I want to feel comfortable. I want to feel comfortable. So I clear those energies. Then also heart chakra, I don't want to let go. So this is also basically a way of resisting experiencing certain energies are passing through, or healing and clearing, or also holding on to old limiting beliefs, for example, or just limiting energies in our system. I don't want to let go. I don't want to let go. I don't want to let go. And there's an energy coming in, showing our system new possibilities. So if we let go of all belief of limiting beliefs, and also those energies in our system, so beliefs is on a mind level, but also these energies are in our system as well, then new possibilities are coming in. So the system is receiving the information that there are other and new possibilities. And right away, what the system is doing is expanding and opening up more, and it prefers that, it likes new possibilities. And at the same time, it can then let go of the resistance, and they're wanting to stay in the known, basically. So that's coming in. And trust is coming in, the energy of trust. So the system needs trust until it knows. So we need trust in the meantime. So trust is coming in, trust that everything works out in exactly the way as it's supposed to. And maybe it's not recognized as such in the beginning, but when looking back, it's always exactly how it's supposed to be. So this trust in life is coming in, this understanding. Life is in charge, life energy is in charge. And we incarnate here to live life. So this is the purpose. So there is no other purpose. To live life, to experience life, to go through various life experiences. This understanding is coming in. And the trust that life is always for us. And if we experience suffering and we don't prefer certain experiences and all of that, it's just because there is resistance in our system, so clear more resistance. This causes suffering. When the system closes down, this is where the suffering comes from. I don't want this, heart chakra. I don't want this. I don't want this experience. I don't want to have these people in my life. I don't want to live in the area where I live, for example. So these are just energies. I don't prefer this. I don't prefer this. I want it to be different. I want to be different. I want to have a different job. I want to have this or that or whatever. So it's like just things I don't want. I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want this. I want it to be different. So I clear those energies because everything is perfect as it is in the present moment. And from the true nature point of view, this is the highest truth. And everything else is the human being in the way of that. So that I just call it the human stuff, the human piled up stuff. And by healing and clearing this human piled up stuff, we get more and more this understanding that everything is perfect that's happening in the present moment and it's there for a reason. And then automatically the trust is there, the surrender is there, so they're fully allowing life to unfold. And then at the same time is also the joy there, the love there, the joy just of experiencing life. And now the joy of existence is coming in, so that you can experience it. Just the joy for the fact that we exist. That's coming in. I'm filling up the whole system with the joy of existence. And it's so beautiful because there you can experience, you don't need to do anything on the outside to experience joy. And nothing on the outside can actually bring this joy in. Just moments, it's just emotions. So there's a difference between experiencing emotions or experiencing an energy of something. And the joy is coming in. And I also fill up the heart chakra. So the heart chakra and the whole system through the heart chakra with the energy of joy. And maybe you can feel with the energy of joy being present, the body gets really relaxed. Also, the energy field is really open. There's just the energies are flowing. There is divine light coming in. So it's all very balanced. It's very beautiful. Okay, and let's sit with this joy for another minute before I close this meditation, finish this meditation. And now there are just a few energies popping up. I'm just going to clear them really quickly. So it's just limitations around the energy of joy. So I'm not supposed to experience joy. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not lovable. I'm not lovable. I'm not lovable. I'm not like good enough to experience these kind of energies or have these energies present because they're just other programs in our system, other stuck energies. So I'm just clearing them real quickly as well, so that the system can allow more joy. And right away, there is more joy. Okay, we are finished.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah,
Let
you're
everybody kind of
welcome.
come back into their space, into their bodies, back to, yeah, that was wonderful, Eva. Thank you so much for doing that.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
That was wonderful. So I encourage our listeners to, this is something obviously that you could do more than once, right? I'm sure that you could go back and experience that again. And I will make sure that I share all of Eva's links. So for her YouTube, so you can go and do her meditations. She also does different meditation groups through her website that you can sign up and do all of that. I have all of the links, so you guys will know how to get a hold of Eva and go and connect with her. And we definitely, I want you to come back at some point. We'll have you back and explore things more, because I feel like there were so many windows that were opened up, right? That that we can peek into, and totally attainable for many of us to be able to improve ourselves through self improvement, through healing, through spiritual journeying, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I would love to come back, and I would just really quickly invite everybody, because I offer a free healing meditation every Thursday at 9 o'clock Central European Time. I think EDT. I'm not sure what time. I think it's 2 o'clock. Is that possible? Or maybe 1 o'clock your time zone? I don't know, but it's 12 o'clock um, Pacific.
Okay.
PM Pacific. That's what I know.
Okay.
So everybody's very welcome to join, and we're like a big group meditating together. So it's always really beautiful. It's a 15-minute meditation, and before it's like a chat and a half an hour chat and Q
Beautiful.
and
And so
A.
how do we
So
sign up
everybody,
for that? How do we join you on
yeah,
that?
just on my website, there is like you find free Zoom meditation or free meditation,
Perfect.
and just send me an email, because then you receive the password for Zoom, and
Great.
that's it. And the link is on the website. Yeah. And
That's awesome.
I just want to share one more thing, because this is something I recently discovered, and I'm so excited about that, because the energy transmission I'm working with, I'm channeling that, right?
Right, right,
And then the energy basically showed me a way how I can transmit this energy to people without me having to be the channel. So I'm basically connecting people directly to this energy. And I found a way how to do that. I programmed it into a website so people can connect just through pushing a button on a website to that energy, and the energy comes in 24/7 and is working on their system while they sleep or during the day at work. So they're basically like in a deep meditation all the time. And not
right,
deep, but like in a transformative meditation all the time, and
right.
can receive that. Yeah, and this is so
Very
cool,
cool.
because this is just something I recently discovered, and I'm so excited. And yeah, it's called Next Elevations. I'm sure you're gonna put the link
Yes,
into the
yeah,
show notes that people
the
go.
link will
Yeah,
be there, so you
mm,
guys can go and check that out and explore all
yeah,
of the, yeah. And so everybody, trust your intuition, see what you feel called to, or depending on where you are on your journey and what your individual needs are right now. I'm sure that Eva's got something that can be supportive for you.
yeah,
Hey,
definitely.
so thank you so much. Thank you. So it was lovely meeting you, and your energy, of course, is beautiful. And I hope that everybody can feel that through this connection. And we definitely will have you back again, Eva.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you for this lovely conversation. And I really, really enjoyed it, and also that you asked like specific questions about my path and all of that. I found them really, really good. So thank you
Beautiful.
very
That's
much.
awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you, everybody. And we will see you again on our next episode.
yeah.
Take
Thank
care.
you, thank you.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Collective Soulversations podcast. We really appreciate you taking the time to listen, and we hope that you found our chat both inspiring and thought provoking. Your support means everything to us, and we're excited to keep this journey going with you. So make sure that you subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so that you never miss an episode. If you enjoyed today's conversation, we'd love for you to leave us a review and share your thoughts in the comments. Your feedback helps us grow and connect with more wonderful listeners like you. Until next time, stay curious and keep those soulversations flowing.